Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the go-to platform where faith-driven entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and experts share their stories, wisdom, and expertise to inspire and impact others. This isn't just another interview series. This is a strategic platform designed to amplify the voices of high-level entrepreneurs, which especially includes kingdom entrepreneurs who are making a real difference in their industries. My goal is simple: to serve you, the expert, by giving you a stage to share your message, expand your reach, and create lasting value for others. Through authentic, in-depth conversations, we uncover the real journeys, challenges, and victories behind today's leading experts. Each interview isn't just content. It's a powerful asset that helps you to establish authority, increase visibility, and connect with the right people. So with that, let's dive into today's episode. Once again, welcome. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another interview here. And today I have special guest Richard, and he is a veteran, a speaker, an author, and a mental wellness advocate. He is the creator of the Order. He's the creator of the Order to Life system, a visual, self-educating framework that helps people recognize how to judge and how judgment and mental chatter pull them out of the present moment, and how conscious awareness restores clarity, peace, and purpose. Richard is the author of Your Guide to a Better Way of Thinking and the founder of Brainyites, a growing mental health community focused on practical tools for real life. His work bridges psychology, leadership, and lived experience to help people think better and live better. Welcome, Richard. I am so excited to have you on today's show. And so here's how I want to start. I just basically want to start with you unpacking your story. How did you got here? Let's talk about your book. Let's talk about all the things. So I'm actually going to hand the mic right back over to you and let you take it away, my friend.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Thank you. So it's a pleasure being here. I'm excited as much as you are because this is fun stuff. And whatever you're doing, you got to have fun. And
Yeah.
sometimes when we talk about the mentality of wellness, breakdowns occur. But we're here to have fun, share some ideas. I love networking, exchanging. But going back as far as how I got involved in this, I'll try and be brief. I majored in accounting in college, which was a big mistake. My friends are saying, Richard, that's not you. Yeah, it's the backbone of business and all that kind of stuff. I'm also how do I say, science buff as well. Well, I got into the accounting world, and they were right. It wasn't my thing, and I had just bought a home, and I had my one eye on real estate. And the realtor, who was also a friend of mine, he said, Richard, I said, there's a class going on, the title company, and it's on the financial calculator. They had just come out, this back in the 80s, back in the day. And would you want to go? I said, yeah, absolutely. So it was a 2-day event, 4 hours each day. So bottom line, we went, we attended. It was wonderful. And before you went to the class, I got that calculator out. I'm looking at the little instruction book, trying to push the buttons.
Mm.
And so it was very informative. And I went home that night and I practiced. And I saw some things in the program that maybe could have been presented a little, how do I say, simpler. So I thought, should I say something to the instructor? But anyway, I debated that, went back for the second part and had a great time. He was a great guy. And I thought, well, I'm going to mention it. So after the class, I thanked him and I happened to bring, the points I had. And he looked at me and he says, do you want a job? And I said, what do you mean, do I want a job? He says, well, he says, you seem like you have an affinity for this stuff. He says, what do you do? I says, well, I work, I'm an accounting, I major in accounting. He says, you're perfect. And I said, what do you mean? We're looking for somebody to teach this class. And he says, what happened? The creator of the class left the company. And we had booked this class. And I'm the only one that even has some idea how to teach it. So that's why I'm here. But we're looking for somebody. And would you be interested in talking to our president? He's a great guy. And before I knew it, he says, yo, let me make the appointment for you. So he arranged everything. So I went over and met him. Terrific guy. We started talking. He says, Richard, I'd like to bring you on board. I think you can do this.
Mhm.
And I never thought about it. I never saw myself as an instructor or these kind of things. And all of a sudden, a different world kind of opened up. And I said, yeah, let's do it. I thought, after all, how can I get hurt, right?
Right.
So I got involved, and it was like a boy ducked the water. I went, oh my! It felt like I found my coming, or whatever you want to call it. So I got involved, and there was another individual come help me, and I practiced and I learned how to teach the class. And later on, we started wanting to develop in other classes. So I went back to the individual, his how do I say, the file and how we created the class, and I created one myself, sent it to the department, and got it approved. So next thing I know, I'm in offices teaching this. Business is picking up. We had a philosophy: exposure, comfort, relationships, business. So by going into for example, a realtor's office, teaching a class, it gave me the opportunity to get to know the agents. I mean, you walk out, else, how do you meet them? So we followed that exposure, comfort, relationship formula, and it worked really, really great. So things started really taking off. I mean, I can't tell you how happy I was. I was, you talk about being fulfilled. And then I got a call from a stockbroker one day. He says, Richard, I understand you teach these classes and you do them to develop relationships with, like, for example, your title, and they're realtors and they can direct business to you, that you develop the relationships to earn that, to get the bid. I said, that's right. He says, well, I've got the same situation with attorneys as it relates to retirement plans. We share that common thread.
Hmm.
And I would like to be able to put on classes for the attorneys, continuing education, that has to do with retirement plans. And so, but anyway, we got together. I said, bring your stuff, bring all your stuff over. We sat down, we organized this. Well, look, let me call what do I say? As far as the legal, the continuing education department of the legal department in California. Anyway, got a hold of them, and as it turned out, their requisites, or how you create the class and process, was very much like real estate. Gal was terrific. She sent me all the materials, Richard, whatever you need, and we found out that my fellow we were going to be working with looked like he was going to qualify. So everything was really looking good. We put the class together. I sat down. Yeah, I asked what the wherefores, what do you want the attorneys to know, what makes you different, all these kinds of things. And so we put the class together. Then it was time that also I showed him, well, I was in the process of showing him how to teach the class. Because I had a Socratic approach, Ken, where Socrates learned that the students would learn more if you would ask them questions versus giving them the answer. So we had the format was to involve the audience, get them, and plus they had an outline. And so we would call and have this interaction going on. I taught the first half of the class. He got the hang of it, and he was off and running. And then an attorney called me. I mean, he wanted to work the other way. Same thing. He says, I want to work with as far as be able to generate leads with the stockbrokers, the finance. So all of a sudden, this thing started to mushroom. And then I did a program for a company. They had a coach who was in the audience. He worked at the company. He said, Richard, do you do coaching? And I said, really? He said, you ever thought about it? So just one thing led to another. And I thought, well, I took a course. And so I started pursuing that on the side. That started growing. And as I mentioned, I'm a science buff. And one of the things I heard a scientist say many, many years ago is that we scientists love questions. Because when we solve a question, we get an answer, generally it generates five more questions. And he says, that exciting. And so I go, I felt that. I go, okay. And some of the questions start popping up for me as I get more involved. Why are we the only life form on the planet that destroys itself?
Hmm.
Why is it that we can be so extraordinary and at the same time confused, self-serving, and destructive? And I'm going, hmm. I started thinking about this, and then I thought, well, wait a minute. We all suffer on this planet at different times, at different levels, over different things. And this is long before COVID, but we get a disease or something, we jump on it, we cure it. But we've been suffering from day one, maybe from the moment that man became aware of himself. But we don't know any more today than we knew thousands of years ago. Jesus said, lose yourself to find yourself. Know what's in front of you was what it was hidden will be revealed. But we haven't learned anything. We pour millions and millions of billions of dollars into the mental health industry with absolutely no return. And
Hmm.
you name me a company where we pour millions and billions into it with no return, and we keep on doing it. And so anyway, I jumped into this. I began thinking, Richard, maybe you can figure this out. I mean, hard can it be if we all suffer? And so that's what I started getting into. And one of the revelations was psychologists say that our self-image plays a critical role in how we think and behave. And I started thinking about that and I go, but I didn't create the image in my head of who I think I am. You know, well, how did it get there? My brain must have created it. And then I read an article. We have over 6,000 thoughts a day. We don't consciously think up these thoughts, take time out of our day to think them up. And then what about those nighttime dreams that are chaotic and nonsensical? Hey, Ken, I dreamed about you, but in my dream, you didn't look like you, but it was you. So I'm going, maybe this is it. Maybe. So then that became the basis for creating, well, the order to life. So I started trying to get into the minutia, trying to figure out what the salient facts were, what was important, what wasn't. And also, I thought, in the end, I want to be able to take this thing and put it into a simple format that a fifth grader can understand. To take this whole psychological thing and make it so simple a fifth grader can to basically teach the concept. And this is what I came up with. This here, and it's in my book. Can you see it okay, Ken?
Yeah, I can see that
Yeah.
for the most part. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, because I want to talk to the people out there that are watching. The elements, the four elements inside the circle are what moves forward and begins with awareness. This is what I came up with. Aware of what? Aware that our personality has evolved in more than one direction. There's an image, how do I say, that's connected, or consciousness that's connected to the universe, God, whatever you want to call it. And then we have the image in our head is that Sigmund Freud called the ego, which is Latin for I, meaning the self. Because we talk about the ego and the self, okay? And I realized that is the part we've been educated to live through. Now, on the surface, that sounds fine, but here's what I learned as I got more and more into this. The ego is judgmental by nature. Okay. Doesn't sound okay. We judge everything all the time. Okay. And who do we judge more than anybody else? Is ourselves. But here's the destructive part. As I mentioned, it's judgmental by nature, and you cannot have a negative state of mind until you judge something. Boy, that just knocks you out. And then the judgment comes vis-a-vis that little voice in our head. Our brain speaks to us. It speaks to us in a language that we can understand. And what I discovered was that this chatter in our head that also showed up in the Garden of Eden as a serpent, and the reason why a serpent was used relative to as a metaphor for the chatter in our head is because the chatter in our head is like a serpent. It has slithered its way into our psyche, okay?
Hmm.
Quiet, stealthy. It speaks with a forked tongue that can be deadly. And so this chatter, if you will, has a subliminal goal to keep us where we are or worse, which is why we don't change. Since we're living through this thing, okay, this is why and we think that this is who we are, and it's not who we are. Our brain is not who we are, and our brain is not our best friend. And so the next step is the present moment. The present moment and the chatter in our head cannot exist at the same place at the same time. For example, but what happens, we don't live in the present moment. Generally, we're in the future. The chatter loves to take us in the future and beat us up with what if questions we can't answer. What if you lose your job? What if you can't pay your bills?
Hmm.
All this negativity, what are you going to do? And when it tires of beating us up in the future, it likes to pull us into the past to remind us of all the stupid things that we've said and done and all the mistakes have made. And we don't realize it's bouncing us back and forth between the future and the past. And we wonder why we're mashugana. That's a Yiddish word for crazy. And because this is where we spend our time, not knowing that the present moment is where our point of power is, because our present moment is at peace. It's our connection with the Almighty. To be present. And the chatter in our head, once again, the present moment cannot exist at the same place at the same time. Next, conscious choice, thinking through what we might create for ourselves if we act upon our current thinking. How many times have we said and done things we go, God, I wish I hadn't said that. I wish I hadn't done that. Okay. Because we react, and we'll get to that in a second. It's on the outside of the circle. So thinking through what we might create for ourselves and others if we act upon our current thinking. And if there's any doubt at all, I say hit the brakes, put it on pause, give it 24 hours and think about it again. And usually it's, you know what, I'm glad I didn't say it. I'm glad I didn't do it. Okay, then we move on to the last one, which is connecting. If you bring out what is within you, what you bring out will save you. If you do not bring out what is within you, what you do not bring out will destroy you. Meaning connecting to what it is that you love to do. It's been said, we probably have all heard, if you're doing what you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
Mm,
But we are so connected to this. See, our greatest mental asset is our imagination, and our greatest mental process is staying curious. And when we're connecting to what we love, we are using these two magnificent tools, these two gifts that God gave us. And when we bring them together, magic happens. Using our curiosity, using our imagination. We can't build it until we see it. So those are the four elements that, quote unquote, I came up with that are salient to us being at peace and as well as moving forward. Now comes the part that holds us back, which is outside of the circle that runs counterclockwise because it takes us reverse. And once again, it's judgment that works in conjunction with the chatter in our head
mhm.
that has the evidence, all the reasons why we can't do it. Oh, they told me years ago I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, and we buy into it. So it's got the chatter's always going to show the evidence why we just don't have what it takes to get what we want. So why even try? Okay. And then we react with what? Anger, depression, all these things because we're stifled inside. Because and this is huge. And this is, I think, one of the biggest problems humanity has. We don't support each other.
Mm,
And it's so important. Just real quick, I was in gymnastics. My parents weren't involved. I did well, but that's the way our family was. And I was a junior, and there was a senior that was on the rings. And it popped in my head that I think his name was Bob. I think I can beat Bob. Next morning, I walk on campus. Who's the first person I see is my coach. Hey, coach. Hey, Rich, how's it going? Oh, great. You got a minute? Yeah, what is it? Coach, this hit me last night. What is it? I think I can beat Bob. He says, I know you can. No, I was walking, I was 3 feet off the ground. No one ever believed it. No one ever said something like that to me. And I still get chills today when I think about it. And just having that support. And, instead of judging, and also we judge each other in so many ways. You can come to me, Ken, and say, Richard, look at the car I bought. And I look at it and go, Ken, why would you buy a car with that color? What I'm doing is I'm making you wrong. I'm making you wrong for buying that color because your ego has four needs it wants us to fulfill. Four needs, which we do. And they're not in any order. The need to project to the world the image in our head of who we think we are.
mm,
The need to be right. The need to control. And the need to never, never be accountable. Doesn't it? Adam and Eve were kicked out of the Garden of Eden for judging, blaming, hiding, and not being accountable. What's changed? Nothing. We're still judging, we're still blaming, we're still hiding, and we're still not accountable. So that's kind of culminated. So it all kind of started coming together to put this together to try to in a meaningful way that people can relate to, which prompted me that I wrote the book, which is a simple approach to mental wellness that is about two individuals having a conversation. And anyway, this book is an introspective parable that brings yesterday's theology into the same over today's psychology, where you will learn why your brain is not your best friend, how
mm,
to manage the chatter in your head that's managing you, how to identify the fine line between peace and suffering, how the present moment will enable you to save yourself from yourself, and much more. And also too, on my website, you on step 1 and 2, I go into this, will gives you the background, and I go into the circle, what I call the order to life in step 2. And every word that you hear me say in step 2 is in the script that is on my website that you can download. So you can have every word that you're hearing me say, verse, so you don't have to take any notes, that type of thing. Because I want you to have everything that I have. Okay, because I want you to, yeah, to be able to practice, be armed with this stuff, and to go up and yeah, we're alive, okay, but are we living life? See,
Mm.
that's the thing. We're alive, but are we living life? Are we happy? Are we joyful? Are we connecting? Are we empowering our fellow man? Are we doing what we love? All these kinds of things. And anyway, that's kind of my story, kid, in a nutshell. But it's something I love. I would love to watch people, the smile when they try things. Hey, Richard, yeah, that worked. I see what you mean. Yeah, you know what? Here's the other thing too, Ken. Kind of not the goal, but yeah, if you will, it's kind of a goal. Is there's always going to be problems in life. That's why we call it life. There's always going to be issues. Things are going to come out of the woodwork. Just the way it is. Okay. So here's the question: you always, when anything comes up, the first thing instead of reacting, take a moment and say to yourself, "Wait a minute. How can I manage this? How can I manage this?" And knowing that you can manage this, regardless of what it is, and still be at peace with yourself. Because when you're not at peace, you're not functional.
Mm.
Does that make sense? So
Yes.
you can, what they say, scratch your chew bubble gum and scratch your backside at the same time. You can do two things. It takes a little practice. So now you're starting to have a life now. You find peace within yourself because we think we're broken. And here's another thing. Most of us feel that we're not a complete person. Something is missing. People have told us that, hey, you're not this, you're not this, you're not that. But we, the good Lord, how do we say, nature doesn't create anything incomplete. We are complete. We're not broken. As a matter of fact, as I think you mentioned in your book, which I really enjoyed. And so it's just hearing these things, we learn through repetition. Bill Belichick, who was the coach of the Patriots, and during the time of when they were winning Tom Brady and all this, and they were in the playoffs, you heard him at every he huddled the team around, and he'd say to them, "Do your job, do your job." Well, how many millions of times did he say, "Do your job"? But he still said it, "Do your job." So, but we need to hear this. We need to hear for support. And there again, too, the best way that I can support you, if you have an awareness, for example, about the order to life, I might be able to say, or someone said to me, my wife, as I was developing this, I was kind of going off one moment, and my wife says, "Richard, are you inside the circle or not?" And I'm going, "You're right. I'm not inside. I'm letting the chatter control me." And
Mhm.
so you start developing this awareness about how you think. And once we start learning what goes on inside of our head, we can start taking responsibility for how we think. And that's huge because the inner creates the outer. So all these little things start happening. They're all intertwined, they're all interconnected, but we can play with them and have fun doing it.
That is amazing. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. There's so much power in everything that you just shared there. One of the first things that comes to my mind, especially when it when we're talking about self chatter, is that is often something that I struggle with a lot. And
We all do.
I notice that the enemy uses it in many different crafty ways. Oftentimes I will wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, not be able to go back to sleep, and things will be just twirling in my mind. And sometimes I'm able to step back and go, where the heck is this even coming from?
Mhm.
Like, what the heck? And I know you talk about pulling out of that by coming into the present, but I think the first question that I have for you is, what about in the moments where that there's such a raging storm around you and so many words twirling it? I don't find it that easy to pull out and be in the present moment. I might pull out for a few seconds and be in the present moment, and then the next thing I know, I'm back in it, right? I'm back in
Well,
that storm. I'm back in that self chatter again.
right.
And I'm hearing the enemy's voice in my head. And it's a, it could be a number of things, um
Sure.
so how do you show people how to get out of that in the midst of the raging storm when they're having such a difficult, when they're actually trying to pull themselves out? Like, for example, I'm trying to pull myself out so I can be at peace and get back to sleep, so I can
Right.
show up for my day the way I know I need to show up for my day, right? There are definitely times where even though I'm trying to pull myself and bring myself to peace, it's not working. So,
Hmm.
how do you help people through those kind of situations?
Well, no, that's a good question. I had, let's see, I had in a situation you might say where I had to use this. It was my lifeline, and when my wife had developed brain cancer, and for the time it was detected, the time she was gone was only 45 days. We had an incredible marriage, 30 some odd years, and all this now was coming at me. I never had anybody I loved like that or lost anybody like that. And I was in survival. You talk about emotional. I'm getting emotional now. And my wife's brother, and I shouldn't say we didn't get along, but he had his ways about him, and whatever. And his personality changed. He became my rock.
Mm,
And out of nowhere, he became a different person. And we talked every day, every day, every day. And I remember when I was hung up, Richard, stay present. Just stay present. Just stay present. And over, I was, oh, Richard, just stay present. Because I was in the middle of it. I was totally in the middle of it. And there's no way to escape it, you know?
yeah.
And so that's all I can say. Everything takes practice. Also movement. Sometimes when I'm feeling whatever, I get up, walk around.
Yeah.
Get up, change your state. Movement is a wonderful, go ahead.
What do you do? So, thank you. Yeah, no, no, no. I mean, I'm totally getting what you're saying, but what do you do when you have those moments where you're so discouraged and so in that dark feeling that you know that you need to get up and walk around? You know you need to do other things, but you'd rather crawl in a hole and just be there.
Well, okay, here's one thing that I know it's going to pass. I know it's going to pass. Okay. I may have a flat tire, but I know I'm going to get it fixed and be able to continue on. I know this is going to pass. Okay.
Mm,
When I mean, so I know that. So that helps me a lot too. Okay. I know this is momentarily, it's a moment by moment thing. And this is going to pass. Someone's going to call, something changes, and next thing you know, I'm off and running. And for me, I remember at nighttime, when I would have weird dreams or have negative thoughts, I'd wake up. It was always worse at night. But it seems like in the daytime, when I was walking around, my problems weren't that bad at all.
yeah.
It depends where I was. Sometimes at night they magnified them for me. I don't know why. I'd wake up, oh my God, the world's not. But in the day when it was, I got, no, I'm good. I'm good. And so I try to keep things in perspective. Notice what you're when you do get upset, when all these things are happening, and when you can how do I say break the flow of it. But it takes practice. It takes practice, being conscious, but staying. So they can stand with it. That's the thing. And over time, you will start developing these different perspectives. And hey, wait a minute. Okay, I can handle this. I can do this. Oh,
Mm,
here it comes. I know. For example, for the first year after my wife passed, in fact, I felt a sadness I had never felt before. Never. And after she passed, I could tell, oh, here it comes. I felt, here it comes. And
mm,
I'd go, and oh, no, get Richard, walk around, do something. Here it comes. I'm not going there. I'm not going there. And Richard, stay present, go do something, and that would help me. That would help me a lot. And after a while, and it just takes practice. Everything's practice. The attorney practices before he
right.
goes into the courtroom. Yeah. So, and that's all I can say. Just stay with it, knowing that, you're going to get through it. Okay.
Let me
You're going
give
to
you
make it.
another example. Now,
Sure.
I wasn't planning on sharing this today. I almost shared it
Perfect.
right before we came on just to kind of let you know where my headspace was and what's been going
Sure.
on with me. So
Sure.
this last Friday, I had to put down my special baby, um,
Oh,
my cat who's been with me for 17 years.
oh,
They say that you only get one special one in your lifetime. Well, he was
yeah.
mine. He was mine. And it was time to put him down. Well,
Right.
it's been, and this was this last Friday. And I just
Oh,
feel like I have been in the midst of a whirlwind mess. Like I've had,
sure.
like for example, yesterday I actually had a really good day. I kind of felt normal. I was in the flow of
Right.
my calls and different things like that. And it kind of felt normal because the whole weekend was just a big old giant fog. And I just feel like I wasn't even there, aware, or anything. I was just numb and in a fog.
Yeah.
But here's what's happening. And, it's funny. My mom told me this morning, she's like, you are way too hard on yourself.
Mm, mm,
It's so now what's happening is the on and off moments. So when I
yeah.
have moments where, I'm okay and I'm, just going with the flow, I
Right.
have those thoughts. Why are you not grieving? Why are you not this?
Mm,
Why are you not
mm,
that? Even this morning, as I woke up, it's like you're not grieving hard enough. You're not, you know, did you really
yeah.
actually love him? All these different thoughts have been coming, and it's weird. Like I'm going, where the heck is all of this coming from, and why? Um, and then and then I do have days like today where I woke up and it hit me like I was very lonely when I woke up, and the whole like
Sure.
day so far has been that. In fact, I almost canceled this interview because I was just like,
Mm,
I don't know if I can show up. But it's interesting as we're talking about this, so now I can kind of like bring this, to you and go, all right,
right.
here's a real situation, here's something that I'm going through, and
Right.
here's the thoughts that I'm experiencing with it. you know um the times where I'm not necessarily grieving and I'm just moving and flowing through and kind of like, I guess where I would put it, existing.
Sure.
There's moments during those times where I'm feeling bad that I'm just existing. I should be mourning. I should be falling apart. I should be this. I should be that. So, what would you say to that?
I relate to what you said more than I had a special cat, and it was Rocky, and very I had him 10 years, and the cat never meowed. The cat, if I went to the next room, he was right next to me. Wherever I went, he followed me like a dog. I'm sure he probably had the same thing. And when I think of it, okay, I have a hole in my heart for him. Whoops, excuse
Same
me.
here. Yep.
Yeah, I have a hole in for my wife. That hole in your heart or whatever, it's going to always be there. Okay, it's going to be there. Okay, and so once I realized, it's going to be there, and I just have to manage it. You think, well, is it or a dog? I love that cat. You love that cat. I understand that. I totally understand it. We love our animals. They're dedicated to us. They love it. And so that's completely normal. And here's the other thing too. Our brain is not our best friend, Ken. See, your brain knows what you value. It knows you love that cat, and your brain wants to keep you where you are. So it's going to be showing maybe things you're not good at this. And it's almost our brain is almost tyrannical. Okay. And this is your brain working behind to keep you where you are because it knows what you're sensitive about. It knows what you value. And it's going to show you why you have no reason to be happy. Look what happened to you. You put down your best friend. Why should you be happy? Why should you have a life? Yeah. And so this is going on behind the scenes. And I always tell this, our brain is not our best friend. It doesn't support us. It doesn't tell us how wonderful we are. It tells us it's not that we prosper. We're about lack. We're not good enough. And maybe it's going to show times that you could have been nicer to the cat. whatever it may be, it's going to show. So we've got to be prepared of this onslaught because, like I say, our brain is not our best friend. It's how it's wired, and it wants to keep us where we are. And it's got the perfect thing now because it knows you love that cat, and all I have to do is pull this out, and beat Ken with it, and I know it's going to put him down. He's going to feel unresponsive. He wants to go off in the corner and cry. He wants to all these things because I know Ken, and I know what he got. And so it sounds crazy, but this is what our brain does. And I'm just kind of trying to give an overview because when that happens, I go, this is my brain trying to torment me. Okay. And if I keep going, I'm going to let it, but I'm not. I'm going to be wise to it. I'm not going there. Okay. I love that cat. I'm clear with what went on. I'm clear with what I did. And that's it. Okay. I'm okay with all this. I did the best I could. It was like a friend of mine years ago, his mom, it was just him and his mom, and his mom had passed away. And we were talking, and he said to me, and I used this when my wife was going down. He said, you know, I did my duty. You did your duty with your friend. You did your duty. There's nothing, you have everything to be proud of. You took care of that cat. Okay. And you're good. You're good. But there again, your brain is going to find ways to knock you off your position. So you don't feel good today. You don't want to do the podcast. You're not going to live life. You're going to be alive today, but you're not going to live it. Okay. Okay.
Yes,
So
that's it
yeah,
right there. Yes.
you're not going to live it. So get used to it. Okay. I'm in charge, not you. That's what I go through. That's basically what goes on that we're not aware of. That what our brain, like I say, it's not our best friend. And in moments that are oh my God, they're that touches our soul, it'll go after us. It'll use it against us. You know what I mean? You think, don't you have any respect for me? No. So that's the only thing I can say. Just be aware of what you're dealing with and knowing that's not you. That is not you.
Mm. It's such a good reminder to be reminded of that because when and this is crazy, like I didn't intend on sharing any of this, but I kind of thought as you were sharing, I'm like, it actually might prove to be a good example
It is.
on this show. So here I am like talking about this and trying not to cry as well. Um but when I really look back and think about it, like, no, I know it's kind of like what you're saying. Like, I know that I know that I know that I went above and beyond with him.
Hmm.
He lived 17 years,
Yeah, long
which is
time.
way more than a lot of cats nowadays.
Right.
I did some preventative measures with him towards the last 5 years of his life, which was pretty much orally feeding him water.
Mm.
Because of the fact most cats nowadays they don't drink enough water, and this is why most cats nowadays die from kidney disease. Well, he was
Yeah.
starting to show signs of kidney disease about four or
Yeah.
5 years ago, and that's when I started just innate instinct. Like I didn't look it up or research it or anything. It was just an innate instinct in me that said, well, what if I started orally giving him water twice a day for
Hmm.
40 mils in the morning, 40 mils at night, through a little oral syringe.
Mm.
Within about a year, I had pulled him out of stage 1 kidney disease. He went in remission.
Wow. Wow.
So deep down inside, I do know that I did everything possible. I cared for him. And
Sure.
he was a very unique cat. He was very intelligent. He was very intuitive. He was very extremely submissive to me. Um, he was my one. He was my best buddy. And,
Yeah.
he'd greet me every morning and everything's like that. But it's when I'm in a logical thinking state, I know that I did everything I possibly can. And I know that he loved me unconditionally. And it just puzzles me, though, how these random thoughts can come in and take hold of me You're not grieving enough, you're not this and you're not that. It just really puzzles me.
Well, see, it's
um
judging you. It's judging you is what it is. That makes it not enough. It's
not enough.
judgmental. It's judging you. No matter what you do, not going to be enough, Ken. And see, and here's the other part. Our brain has the ability to create on its own. Okay. And it has all kinds of things available to it. So, you're dealing with kind of the monster you see sometimes in the movies or something. We're dealing with this thing because once again, see the part that we're living through, that part of our brain is judgmental by nature.
Hmm.
So no matter what you do, it'll never say, Ken, you're wondering. It's always going to judge you
Yeah.
because it wants to keep you where you are.
Even in my own business, like I see it, I see it in my own business.
Mm,
Excuse me. I know that I show up for my clients. I know that um I care for them in such a wonderful way, and they are very well taken care of. And I know
and
they're
they get
getting,
it, and
yeah,
they get it.
they
They
get
get
it. They're
it.
getting results and different things
Yeah.
like that. Like one of my clients said to me the other day on one of our coaching calls, he said to me, he's like, my wins, I don't even feel like they're wins anymore. They're
Mm,
just who I am now. Like it's hard for me to start coming on and telling you what my wins for the week is because it's just my normal thing. I had to sit there and just kind of let that sink in because that's exactly what I teach. That's the mastery part of what I teach. That's the
mm,
unshakable part of what I teach. And he is transforming into that and has become that, which is what I teach, the becoming process.
right.
But then it's like, on other times, in between our coaching calls, I'm like, am I reaching out to him enough? Am I doing this and da da da? What am I going to talk to? Oh my gosh, I'm failing him. Oh my gosh, this.
Mm,
Yeah, no, even with my business, like I find it, and then there's that 4 o'clock in the morning thing where I wake up, it's like, oh my gosh,
mm.
and it used to be, I have gotten better in this way with it. So, what used to happen with me a lot is I used to beat myself up over the fact that I was prepping for my coaching call with my clients the day before. Why are you waiting till the last minute? Why are you doing this? Now I've kind of been able to turn that around and go, so so what if I'm preparing for this call the day before? I'm preparing for it. I'm showing up. I'm doing what I get to do. Um, so I've actually kind of been able to turn that around and not let that, kind of that judgment act come at me, but
Sure.
sometimes it still does. It's like, ugh.
And what about this, Hip? Kid, you don't even have to. You don't have to prepare in a formal sense. You are ready to go. You are self-contained. Okay, you don't need to practice. You know what to say. You know what to do. You've got it all.
I
Yeah,
just practice and prepare because that's who I am. I like coming very much prepared and having like
sure,
a curriculum that I've come with.
that's fine.
But go ahead. Anyhow,
But even okay, but if I ripped it away from you, you're still going to perform, and you're going to do beautifully. If I took that away from you, you know your
that's
subject.
where the fear comes in, though. See, you're hitting something very interesting there. That's where the fear comes in. If I don't have my curriculum and I don't have my outline, oh no, me showing up on that coaching call, like I can already
Yeah.
feel it. Like I'm going, I have no outline that I'm going by. Like, what am I
And they
doing
and
here?
they may know that I don't have it, and they may think I'm not
Yes,
prepared.
you got
And,
it.
and if they find that out, I'm toast. Yeah, see the progression? Yeah.
Perfect example. Oh my goodness. So powerful, my friend. So powerful.
Yeah, yeah. Because heaven forbid we should be found out. Okay, we got all these kinds of little and there again, the client don't even think about it. We think that they're thinking about it. They're not thinking about it. They know you're prepared. They know you're a professional. Okay, yeah. You don't need a script. I mean, granted, notes, that's fine. But yeah, you're fine. You're whole, you're complete. You've got it all together.
That's the other thing that my brain hits me with all the time. It's like, why didn't you think ahead in the week? Why didn't you look ahead in the week and see that you had that call at the end of the week? Why are you just now preparing for it?
Yeah.
That's the message that comes across every
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I want to, and I have the power. I know what I'm doing. Get the hell out of here. I need you like a hold of the head.
Oh my
Yeah. Yeah.
gosh. Such a good conversation here. This is so,
Yeah.
so good. I just want to say to the listeners here, like I've given a couple examples, which Richard has been absolutely powerful in giving the powerful advice through that and counseling through that and coaching through that. What I want you as a listener to do, if you've got situations that are sounding familiar to those voices that I just gave an example to,
Mm,
I want you to reach out to Richard, maybe grab his book, maybe, get into his world and just go for it. Don't,
mm,
because here's what I can hear is happening with the listener here today. But my situation is unique.
mm.
I'm different though. How can this even help me? So let's actually lean into that, Richard. What about the person? Because I know there's somebody out there that
Okay.
thinks they're the special one, that this cannot help. Yeah, but you don't know my situation. Yeah, but let's talk about that.
Well, first of all, I would say you sound like you're comfortable in being a victim. And a victim by nature has no control over anything. They're a victim. So it sounds to me that you enjoy living in that mental state of being a victim. You don't have the power to do anything. Okay, you're powerless. Instead of being grateful, instead of celebrating, small victories, there's an old saying I love: never cry over a prophet, no matter how small it is. Okay, do your best, try and quit judging yourself.
Mm.
And trust me, you are not that special. And there again, see, the chatter in your head wants to keep you where you are. Okay, it wants you to be right. It wants you to be in control. You don't understand me. You want to control the environment. You want to control how people perceive you. Oh, that's a wonderful thing. Isn't that good? It doesn't. Where did that get you? So we get it, but when people, let's say they are that way or whatever, and sometimes they'll get, well, Richard, why am I that way? First thing I say, who else is in your family is that way? Oh,
Mm.
my mom, my dad. Oh, okay. So it's like a virus. We get this stuff because we're around it. Okay, they got it from their parents, and then their parents got it from theirs, and we pass this stuff on down. So if we're around it, we're going to pick up on. My mother was neurotic. She was judgmental. She judged everybody in the family, and I hated it. But you know what, Ken? I grew up like her. I didn't judge like she did, but I used to do it like through humor. I'd make these stupid ass jokes, but they were judgmental, and I didn't realize the only person who was laughing was me. But I became like, it took me a while to realize I became like her. And so we got to sit back and go, wait a minute, is this attitude going to really move me forward? Is this beneficial? Is this the kind of attitude people want to be around?
Mm.
Does this empower other people? So you've got to do a little self, I don't know, introspection in yourself. What is going on? But there again, too, you have to be curious to do that. So, no, it's the way I am. If they don't like it, luck. Well,
Something my
there's,
dad used to say all the time. It is who I am, and
yeah.
then oh my gosh, yeah. So a lot of what you just said there, I was just like, interesting. I'll bet
Mhm.
you some of the things that I see in myself today that I don't like came from my dad. And it's true, it
Oh,
did. Yeah.
yeah, sure. And he's not going to change because I'm a man. I don't, my father, whoa, like that. He would admit nothing. He could be cut, he wouldn't admit anything. He had to be right about everything.
99.9% of the time is
Yeah.
what he would say all the time. And then the other statement he would say all the time, which later on in life, when I became a Christian, I began seeing right through and I saw him for who he was, kind of like the
Mm,
hypocrite that he was. But he used to say
yeah.
this lovely little saying, do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
That is such a horrible example. Horrible example.
It's not even, yeah, I know. Well, see, there again, they don't want to get involved. It's like, they want to manage you from afar. They don't just do it. Yeah, they don't want to get. My parents, I barely graduated high school. I just didn't do the work. I had no interest in it. Boy, report cards came out. My parents were screaming and yelling at me. But the next day, until the report, I never heard a word. Richard, yeah, how's school? How are you doing? You need some help? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But
Mhm.
when report card time, all hell would break loose. And that was a pattern through my whole life. That's how they were.
Wow.
But yeah, but next week you ask for help, forget it. In gymnastics, I did well. They wouldn't even come to my meet to watch me. And there was other parents there who their sons were, I was friends with them, and I'd go over to their house, so I knew the parents well too. And I remember one time one of the parents says, Richard, do your parents ever come here? Because they would come all the time to support their son. And I says, no. He says, that's so strange because you're doing so well. I would think that they would want to, and I never let it bother me, but that's what it was. And even after a meet or the next morning, they never even asked me, Rich, how did you do? Did you place? Did you win? Nothing, not a word, not a
Mm,
word, not a
mm.
word. And I was lucky that I didn't let it bother me. I could have got looking back, I could have gotten real screwed up about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's the way it was. But I didn't let it bother me. I just, so I just. But that's the world we live in. And once again, things are always going to happen. And I share with people. And okay, don't react to it. If you can, have that awareness, take a deep breath, take a step back, and say, how am I going to manage it?
Yeah.
And I knew with not having to support, the best way for me not to manage it was don't go there. Just that's who they were.
Right.
I did my thing and it worked out well. But that's all you can do is take, is try to do your best you can to man or and also and what you're doing, Ted, right now, Ken, is so there are no accidents we're having this because this is very cathartic for you and me that you said, Richard, I didn't plan on this, but look how much better you're feeling,
Yeah.
and look at the perspectives you've got, and you didn't plan on it, but it happened.
I did.
The universe sometimes shows up. That's another term I use. The Father doeth the work. The universe many times shows up for us to support us, but we have to be right to recognize it when it happens too. We have to be grateful and thankful.
Yes. 100%. 100%.
Yeah, we can do it.
This was such a great episode today. So
Oh,
it's time to wrap up, my friend, which I'm kind of like, wow. Can you believe we've already gone 50 minutes?
oh man,
Like
pure
yeah,
fun.
time goes by like that. It
It
always
does.
does.
It
But
does.
so in wrapping up, what are 3 to 5 powerful things you'd like to leave the listener with today?
Three to five powerful things. Oh boy. Just uh, just to be aware. Number one, I'm going to go back to the order to life, the circle. There's four of them in there that are powerful. Being aware, staying present, being aware of what the present moment means, making conscious choices. Am I choosing, to be happy? Am I choosing to be sad? Whatever it is, you have power. And connecting to what it is you love. And a final thought is I don't recall who came up with this, but I saw on the internet that they said that the odds of you and I and everyone else becoming a human being on the planet Earth were 400 trillion to one.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that we beat the odds, Ken. We're here. We're here. We have life. The question is, what are we going to do with it? Are we going to live it or are we going to piss it away and be angry, upset, and all these other things? Or are we going to get out there, enjoy it, smell the roses, empower others, get out there, start networking, enjoy life? So
Mhm.
these are decisions that we have to make. They're not hard, but there again, to uh, change is hard. Like I said, I hate that word hard. It's a challenge because we don't change. Like I said, Adam and Eve, we still haven't changed. And so coming to how do I say the understanding maybe why we don't change. Why am I not changing? What is going on here? But we have to do the work. Yeah, to plug into who we are, what's going on inside of our head, and masterpieces take time too. And be gentle with yourself. Be easy with yourself because the chatter doesn't want you to be. It doesn't want you to be at peace. It doesn't want you to enjoy life. It doesn't want you to be prosperous. right? So
100%.
yeah, that's what
Wow.
we're dealing with.
Let me add to that. So there's a couple things I wrote down that I want to add
Okay,
to that as we move to the close. So number one, I meant to mention this earlier and I forgot to mention it because we kind of got on another trail. But in every
sure,
circumstance, and this is to the listener,
sure,
in every circumstance in life, we have a choice. You
right.
can either choose to be a victim of the
Hmm.
circumstance, or you can choose to go on a higher road and
Hmm.
choose the road of empowerment. Now,
Hmm.
just because you choose the road of empowerment does not mean the storm goes away. The storm is
No,
probably still going to be raging around you. You've just chosen not to be the victim of it. So
correct.
that's one. So remember, in every circumstance, you have a choice,
The
two
choice.
different choices to be a victim or to take a higher path. The next thing and last thing that I want to share here is we are divinely created. We weren't
Very much
created
so.
by, it wasn't by accident. We are not here by accident. We are here for a purpose. We are divinely,
Hmm.
specially, intricately, very specifically created by a divine creator, God the Father.
Hmm.
And I believe it's Psalm 139 that talks about how he crafted us in the womb and all of those things. And the words aren't coming to my head, but um, you are not an accident. You were created for a purpose. You are divinely created. So those are the last two
Hmm.
things that I want to just share there. Did you want to
Great.
add to that?
I can't add too much. No, you nailed it. Yeah, we are absolutely part of the universe. Yeah, I mean, the atoms in our body are from the stars, from stars that exploded millions of years ago. We are, and we talk, and we are part of the intelligence. We hear about dark matter, dark energy, and dark meaning that you can't see it. Okay, we can't measure it. We know it's there because we see the effects. Well, there's also what's I call dark intelligence, meaning darkness. The universe is intelligent, and we see it in every living thing because there's an order to how every living thing works. Otherwise, it wouldn't be able to live. Okay, you don't see a palm tree in the Arctic. You don't see how do I say a wall, I don't know what it is, some other animal outside of it in a different environment. It's in the environment in which it is. And but when the environments do change, the life will evolve. We'll seek ways to live. Even a virus, they have what, like the flu, the virus mutates.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because it wants to live. And so they keep coming out with other stronger serums or antidotes or whatever you want to call it, because things are always changing and evolving. That's how life is. We are part of this. And okay, and the question is, are we willing to participate? To say, wait a minute, I'm part of this thing that's going. I was talking to him just today, anyway, bottom line fella, and he was talking about he's a grandfather now. All of a sudden, and this and this and how we changed. And I said, well, your value. And here's the other thing. I said, your values have changed because you're experiencing life. Your kids now, you have so you're, and he says, you're responding to those values, and we protect what we value. That's the other part I always share with people. Be aware of what you value. Maybe the values you had, years ago don't serve you today, but it's because your parents valued it, or whatever it may be. So always check into what you value, because we protect what we value. And sometimes we want to protect the wrong thing. But just staying in touch, just staying in touch and living life. Get out there. What do you love to do? And if you're doing those things, you're not going to be worried about your ailments or whatever it may be. I had a situation. I met a fella. His son was autistic. He was what, 8 or 9 years old. One thing led to another, and he was going through this therapy and all this stuff. And it wasn't much was going on. I said, "Here, let me give you a tip." I said, does he like to do anything? Or do you have respect? He says, "Yeah, he loves art. He loves painting." I says, "Whoa." I says, "I have an idea for you." I said, "We're here in Florida, a lot of retired people, and I'm sure they might have some art clubs they get together. Why don't you see if you can locate one?" Get your boy involved. Share with the individual what's going on. Because what will happen is, he's not talking, communicating, but he doesn't have to worry about how he talks because he's talking about his art.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? He doesn't have to go through some class or some lessons and get him involved talking about his art with the other people. And then next thing he said, I talked with, he says, Richard, it's really helping. You're right. He comes because they're sharing ideas. And he's talking, he's not even aware that he is doing what he needs to be doing, that he has to, he's not even aware of it. It's just coming out of him because he's so happy to talk about his paintings with these other people and he's shining. And so, and that's one of the things that is, I work with people because one of the things when they're done, what do you like to do? What do you like to do? So if I can get you doing some of those things, then you're not going to be valuing this pain and all the crap that you're in right now because you're going to start valuing this over here now.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. So always checking with your values. What are you valuing? What are you doing? And are you doing what you want to do? Yeah. If you bring out what is within you, what you bring out will stay you. I love that saying. I use it all the time because it is so right on. Anyway,
100%.
I'm just,
No, no, no.
yeah. So there,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just going on and on, but just all these little things. But and also too in the book, I share everything's in the book. It reads like Dick and Jane. But just go out there and have fun. Don't judge yourself. Just have fun.
That is so amazing. Such a powerful message today. Really great
Just have fun.
conversation, Richard.
Yeah.
So, how can people reach out to you if they would like to work with you?
Well, we got my contact page on my website. That's probably the best one. I've got videos and all this stuff, but that's the tutorial in nature. But you can contact me on my through my website. My contact page would be the best way to go, or yeah, email me too. Is
Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Any more questions? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, no, no. That's great. So, you guys,
Okay.
Richard's bio will be in the description below this video. And the links to connect with him will also be below in the description below this video. So you can get into his world, connect with him, watch his
Yeah.
stuff, get his book, all the things. So again, if it hasn't gotten through yet, it's not about the fact that you have a unique situation. Yeah, but you don't know, and you don't know this, and no. It's all the same thing. So if you've got something going on and you know your mind is just chattering away at you and you're trying to get out, then
Right.
you need to connect with Richard. So that's what I'm going to leave with you guys today. So lastly, just a little bit of an announcement, my usual announcement that I make
Yeah.
here towards the end. Right now, you guys, I'm giving away my 3 secrets to not only to help you lose weight, but also to help you feel energized and healthy without starving or dieting. See, I've lost 62 and a half pounds and I've kept it off for 7+ years now without a diet and having that be sustainable. And in just 3 powerful sessions with me, I've got a mini educational boot camp series that exposes the 3 biggest lies that are keeping people sick, stuck, and overweight, because that's how that industry makes money. And I show them how they can fuel their body God's way and finally break free and keep the weight off for life sustainably and easily without a diet,
Hmm.
like I've been able to
Hmm.
do for 7+ years now. So, the links to get into my world and get into that mini educational boot camp is also going to be below. So below Richard's stuff is going to be links to get into my world, connect with me, get into my boot camp. It is extremely reasonably priced. And I priced it that way because I kind of wanted to take out the I need to go talk to my significant other factor. I wanted to take that away. I wanted to take that out. So it's very reasonably priced. And so do yourself a favor, jump aboard that mini educational boot camp. It's not a workout plan, it's not an eating plan, it's a foundation for you to move forward on, and a foundation that I can guarantee you, once you have that built, you will never be moved from it again. All right. So, with that, you guys have a great rest of the day or evening, depending on where you are in the world and what time of day you are listening.
Yeah.
We will catch you on the next interview series.